Hi, my name is Serena Eccleston. My group partners are Iman, Maria, Irene, and Monique. We will be discussing developmental inclusive learning environment for a visually impaired student. What is visually impaired? Visually impairment can be caused by eye damage, failure of the brain, or it could be an inheritance, and later manifest in early childhood development. According to Dr. Mandel, children who are visually impaired will experience developmental delay in their growth and fine motor skills. In addition, they may have difficulty in academic performance and nonverbal forms of communication. However, students with developmental learning disability are no less capable of children who in their class who are able. The only thing about it that they can receive, process, and store and respond to instruction in a distinctive manner.
With regards to visual impairment, we have a third grade student named Nora who suffers from this condition and cannot see from the left side of her eye. Nora's parents are worried about her and her school experience because back in Pakistan, where she came from, Nora's teachers were not really understanding of her condition and did not accommodate her. Nora's classmates also often told her that she wasn't good enough because of her disability. So this actually impacted Nora's emotional and psychological well-being, lowered her self-confidence, and hindered her academic performance. So in Canada, how can the classroom environment be manipulated so that children with visual disabilities achieve a positive learning experience?
Social, emotion, and academic learning in the classroom.
Building self-confidence for visually impaired children. Encouraging hands-on activities. It is important to encourage the child to take part in various activities, which will allow to build self-confidence, and this will also help the child to feel included within his environment. For example, going to swimming classes with your friends, or even joining gardening activities with classmates at school. This will allow the child to engage with different people and also to build friendships. Reframe negative thoughts. It is very important to reframe and eliminate negative thoughts, and this can be done so by assigning different kind of activities to the child. For instance, delivery of attendance every morning to the main office. This will help the child to feel independent and reliable despite their disabilities, and most importantly, making them feel equal to their peers. Designing diversity promoting activities. It is very important to promote the diversity that each student brings to the class. For example, learning blankets are hand-stitched blankets, which can not only be used by visually impaired children, but also non-disabled children. And this will allow every child to feel included in their classroom. A recent research has shown a correlation of low confidence with non-attendance in school. It has been observed that children which suffer from low confidence tend to skip school more often than other children which don't suffer from self-confidence. Therefore, it is very important for the educators, parents, and all the peers around the child to make them feel included within their environment by helping them build their self-confidence and self-esteem.
The social developmental skill of a child that is visually impaired is extremely important to avoid isolation as the child gets older. A great way to enhance the social developmental skill of a child that is visually impaired is passing a ball to another child while the child verbally communicates with other children with the help and support of a special ed teacher.
To further provide a positive learning experience for the visually impaired, educators must believe in the dignity and the uniqueness of each student. They must acknowledge the difficulty of revealing medical information. So to get this information from the visually impaired so that teachers, of course, can provide the appropriate aid and accommodations later on, teachers can use questionnaires with a question like, "Is there anything you'd like me to know about you?" This way the child can actually feel safe and secure and discloses the information. It's also helpful to encourage the child to come to the front of the classroom or the presentation area to receive the information correctly, because in doing this, an educator is then demonstrating equity in a class. The educator is being fair and accommodating of the students. It's also very important for educators to have the same expectations for the visually impaired as the other students, for example, when completing assignments, because otherwise the way the child sees himself or herself can become negatively impacted, leading to emotional and psychological harm, and obviously then lower academic performance. So to do this, teachers can just provide the visually impaired with more time, or they can just reduce the number of questions and homework if the child understands the concepts behind the question. To improve social communication for the visually impaired, which is crucial to personal and academic success, teachers can start to address all students by names when speaking. This way that the visually impaired can then learn to associate names with the voices of the classmates and have better interactions. To eliminate or reduce discrimination in the classroom, teachers should always treat the visually impaired the same way others are being treated. For example, discipline, special privileges, or involvement in any leadership position, these should not be restricted to only specific groups of students. These should be open to everybody, because then again, the teacher is being fair and just and accounting for individual strengths and weaknesses. Teachers should also encourage the use of proper eye contact and social etiquette, and they should not tolerate any inappropriate manners towards the visually impaired. This way, the teacher is optimizing physical and emotional health and also social, academic, and career potential. Finally, independence is also key to success. Yes, social activities can help build one's confidence and improve one's overall personal and academic growth, but so can independence. So to do this, teachers should be patient with the students, especially those who are visually impaired. They should observe the students and silently encourage independent problem-solving skills. Teachers should wait until the student is the one who comes up and asks for help first, and then they can provide minimal assistance as needed to build self-confidence and enhance independence.
Setting up the environment, classroom organization. There are many key points when setting up the classroom for students with visual impairment. To allow the most ideal classroom experience, we should first observe the child or children to gather information on their visual skills and ability to locate objects in the classroom. Now we can build an environment that will further enable students to move with ease within the classroom and avoid injury. Free the environment of visual and/or classroom clutter, removing excessive furniture, material, and extra visuals. Labels should be bright, contrasting colors and have large print. Place materials in a consistent location. Tables and shelves should have round edges. Always remind students to push in their chairs once they leave their seats. Avoid using red, orange, and yellow on smart boards, as some visuals are not able to be seen by students. On the next slide, we will focus on the floor plan. In addition, to create a positive learning experience for visually impaired child or children, it is also important to consider adjusting the physical aspect of the classroom setting. For example, for lower grades, a classroom setup may include many different learning zones, such as a reading area, an art center, and a technology center. However, when setting up these areas, educators should separate them with carpet and tile floors. This may help create a sense of differentiation for students, especially for students with visual impairments. It also helps students become more familiar with the classroom environment, thereby facilitating movement. Include clear pathways to prevent trips. Easy floor navigation in the classroom. Have the children or child seating away from bright light and not in their shadow to prevent blind spots on their learning material.
In their learning environment. The Universal Design for Learning has provided 3 principal guidelines. The first one is provide multiple means of action and expression. Learners differ in the way that they can navigate a learning environment and express what they know. Provide option for physical action. Teachers must give students use of multiple media for communication, ways to express comprehension. Example, assistive technology, voice and video feedback, option for expression, skills and frequency, and options that support goals and plans and self-monitoring. The second and third one is means of engagement and also means of representation. Means of engagement, choice of topic, for simple self-monitoring checklists in learning centers for students to self-assess completion and accuracy. For example, like the Braille, the video magnifying iPad, digital storytelling, large print books, textile map, and LR, and magnify and bright digital image. Representation, video capturing and video description. Example, adding text or audio to describe what's happening in the video to support access by a person with visual difficulties. And according to Universal Design Theory, universal design for learning provide the opportunity for all students to access, participate in, and progress in the general education curriculum by reducing barriers to instruction. Learn more about how universal design learning offers options for how information is presented, how students respond or demonstrate their knowledge and skill, and how students are engaged in learning. Here's a synthesis question for you. What can educators recommend for parents with children who are visually impaired? Remember, parents are considered the first teachers. And this concludes our presentation, and don't forget to watch our video on YouTube in regards to an interactive classroom for students who are visually impaired. Thank you.